The New York Rangers finished off their regular season at the top of the Eastern Conference. I'm joined here with SBR's expert on the NHL odds and picks, Ross Benjamin, to give us his rundown on the challenges this top seed will face in the postseason, starting up in just a few short days. Ross, thanks so much for being back with us.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Megan.
All right, now Ross, the New York Rangers, they are definitely the chalky favorite to win it all this year, at plus 550. But let's talk about what they will have to face before they can take home that coveted Stanley Cup. So the quarterfinals are starting up this Wednesday, Ross. We've got the Rangers facing their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Penguins. What can we expect in this series?
Well, the Penguins qualified for the playoffs on the last day of the regular season by a virtue of a 2-0 home win over the Buffalo Sabres, who, by the way, finished dead last in the NHL in points accumulated. So they were very fortunate to get that scheduling break at the end of the year. Pittsburgh did do more down the stretch to prevent themselves from being in the playoffs than they did to earn the opportunity, Megan. As a matter of fact, they went 4-11 in their last 15 games, and this offensively gifted team inexplicably struggled to score goals during that futile stretch, scoring 2 goals or less in 10 of those 15 games. The Rangers did defeat Pittsburgh in 3 of the 4 regular season matchups, outscored them by a cumulative 16-7 margin, and the only Penguins win came via an overtime shootout. So this looks to be a very favorable matchup for the Rangers in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals.
All right then, Ross, so let's assume that the Penguins fall short and the Rangers move on to the second round. What are you predicting of the Rangers in this round?
Well, they'll either face the Washington Capitals or the New York Islanders. The Rangers were 3-1 versus the Capitals this season and won both games played at the Verizon Center in Washington. The Islanders, on the other hand, defeated the Rangers in 3 of the 5 matchups between these fierce rivals. However, it must be noted the Rangers won each of the last 2, and they also amassed 41 or more shots on goal in 3 of those 5 games versus the Islanders. Although both of these teams will in all likelihood present a stiffer challenge than Pittsburgh, the Rangers should have no excuses here, Megan, and not advancing beyond this point will be viewed as a major disappointment.
Okay, now Ross, let's just throw around the idea that the Rangers are in the Eastern Conference Final. It will certainly be their toughest opponent for the three series that they'll face in the Eastern Conference. So what can we expect of this round with the Rangers team?
Well, I've been predicting Montreal in the East all season long, and then they faded a little bit down the stretch. But once again, I'm looking for a rematch of the 2014 Eastern Conference Final between the Rangers and the Canadiens. Last season, the Rangers did advance to the Stanley Cup Final by winning in 5 games over Montreal, but it must be noted once again here, Megan, Montreal's star goaltender, Carey Price, was injured early in that season, and the burden was placed upon backup Dustin Tokarski. Despite that factor not being the sole reason the Rangers advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals, it certainly was an impactful occurrence. Barring an unforeseen injury to Price once again, this will be a much tougher series for the Blue Shirts this time around. And if they're going to advance to the second consecutive Stanley Cup Finals, this would be by far their toughest challenge.
All right, now Ross, we've talked really hypothetically here with this Rangers making it all the way, but how far do you actually see this Rangers team going, Ross? Could they actually take the Stanley Cup this season?
Well, they certainly could. I mean, you look at how they've played over the final 2.5 months of the regular season. They've just played on an extremely high level. They got Henrik Lundqvist back in goal after being out for an extended period of time. They're deep as far as their center position goes. They have size, they have speed, they have what it takes to go deep into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I like their chances to win it all, certainly.
All right, guys, there you have it. You heard it from one of the very best in the business, Ross Benjamin. Ross, thank you so much for hanging out with us and giving us that awesome breakdown of the playoffs coming up next week.
My pleasure, Megan.
And everybody else, don't forget, comment below, hit us up on Twitter at SBR Sports Picks. Give us your questions, challenge us with some picks. We want to hear from you. And of course, for all the best NHL picks and plays on the playoffs going down next week, keep it locked right here with us at SBRpicks.com.